left of me. Jokers to the right, here I am stuck in the middle with you. Yes,
What's up, Degenerate Nation? Welcome to Stuck with Collin, episode 7. I'm Stucky, and with me, as always, is Collin Wilson. He's stuck with me. I'm stuck with him. We're all still stuck inside, so you're stuck with us. What's going on, Collin? Having some stuff to do today, huh?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun today. We first off wrote the modern era college football national championship preview between 1995 Nebraska and 2001 Miami. I know you're partial to Miami. I'm a little partial to the Cornhuskers.
We're talking about that on an episode early next week after we know the result of the final.
Yeah, after we see the finals, writing a little bit on some of this one-on-one NBA. I was making up my own bracket for the one-on-one NBA tournament that we have going on over at Action Network. Even though I'm not a big NBA guy, I know all these players, and I went and downloaded all of their statistics out of the video game itself to do head-to-head. And then we've got our bad beats tournament, which that bracket is fantastic. I stepped outside the college football, started looking at some of the other sports, and it's just to relive these clips and some of these losses reminds me not do I just miss sports and you know how much it just fills my life with joy, but I mean just the ups and the downs is like it's what's worth life is worth living for as a gambler.
Yeah, and we sure are missing that right now. I see people are betting on like ping pong. That's what we're left with right now. Yeah, we're gonna do a snake draft we'll do for $100 for charity. We'll each get 5 players. If any one of those wins it, the other person wins. Or that person wins, and then we'll talk NFL bad beat bracket. So let's start with the NFL. Actually, no, let's start with the NBA since you were just looking at that bracket. You can give your thoughts on it after, but let's just get right into the snake draft. You can get first pick, I'll get second, third, you get fourth, and then we'll just go every other one from there. Who do you want first?
Giannis. My number one pick is going to be Giannis, without a doubt. I mean, I shouldn't have to lobby too much or talk about, but he's one of the highest rated players in the video game itself. But I had a little special – they don't have a defensive rating in the game. They have 3-point percentage, overall percentage, dunking percentage. But defense wasn't included in the video game itself. So I just went and looked at who made first team, second team, and gave little bonus points to those guys that are that good. So Giannis was number one on the list by far.
Yeah, I mean Giannis's jumper, it can be a little inconsistent, but I'll take LeBron first. I mean, I have a strategy here. Well, I guess I get 2 picks now. I'll take LeBron, and I'll take. It sucks that Durant is in because I think Durant's game is made for one-on-one. With his size, his shooting ability. I mean, he has it all. I'll take LeBron, and you know what?
Come on, this is the second round.
I'll go LeBron, and I just think that he has a pretty easy path. No, I'll stick with my gut. I'll go with LeBron and Durant.
Okay.
You're up fourth.
All right. So 4th overall pick, my second round is going to be somebody that I think is going to make Final Four in my tournament, which, hold on, it flies directly into your LeBron pick. So it actually helps me if I don't take this guy and he actually beats LeBron. So I should go elsewhere to get my value. And I think I'm going to go ahead and take – I'll go ahead and take Joel Embiid. He's in a bracket. I want to now. The strategy really sets in on this draft because I want to take somebody from another bracket. Why take one directly in the face of your LeBron when all I need is that dude to beat LeBron, right? And that way that kind of wins for me in this draft. So I'm going to go with Joel Embiid.
All right, I'm going to go with. Five. I guess I'll go with. I know I'm gonna have 2 in the same region now, but whatever. All right. I mean, I have my third pick. I have a 1 still available. He's got the handles and the jumper. I don't know how much defense is going to matter. Well, if it does, I don't know. Yeah, I'll go with a Leonard. Give me Leonard.
Yeah, see, that's the next one that I was looking at. Oh wait, I picked twice.
No, then we go every other one. I said so. It goes 1, 2,
every other
1,
one.
and then every other one.
Okay. So you've got.
I have LeBron, Durant, and Kawhi.
Well, I tell you what, you've so far made up definitely the top 3 draft picks, probably in an all-star crew. Yeah, I didn't like him to actually make it to the Sweet 16 as a shocker there. I actually like Ja Morant to beat him, and that's something that it's probably crazy talk. But let me step out. I'm going to check a look at the brackets here, the ones that you're already involved in, some of the ones you're not. Let me go ahead and take Kyrie Irving. He's got. You can say what you want about his injuries and stuff, but this is a video game simulation, and he's overall 91 in the game, and he's got a 3-point shooting percentage of 83, which is also pretty high. I mean, he's got some very decent numbers in the video game itself. It's a 1-game sample set in a video game simulation. I don't have to worry about his emotional effect. I don't have to worry about his injuries, so I'll take Kyrie to make a long run.
Give me PG3. Me, Paul George.
Yeah, that's a good one in my book. I had a hard time getting him knocked out. I think one that I actually have making to the Final Four is a little bit of a spoiler there for everybody for my brackets about to come out, but I'm going to go with Steph Curry. His numbers in the game, he shoots 99 from a 3-point perspective. Overall, he's a 95, which is right up there with everybody else. Can't play defense for a lick, but he doesn't run into anybody that's going to be able to shut him down. I had him going to the Elite 8 against Joel Embiid. I mean, I'm just seeing one shimmy shake out of Steph Curry and Embiid just falling out of his sneakers. So I'm going to go with Steph Curry as my number 4 pick.
All right. My last one, give me another 3 seed. Give me Siakam.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm going to go, let's see, if I had to base it on points, I see where you're at on your and a couple of these brackets here. Let me see where you're not loaded, so hopefully I can get around. You got Kawhi up there. I got Giannis down here. I don't think – have you taken anybody out of the Giannis division? I don't think you have. So if Giannis is going to be able to pull through for me there, so there's no sense in me taking somebody out of that region. I'm pretty loaded in the Harden region. You're pretty loaded in the LeBron region. Let me go ahead and take somebody whose numbers I think in a one-on-one situation, I'm going to take them because defensively they've made all first, second team in NBA before. They have one of the highest 3-point shooting ratings in all of the game, and their overall number isn't bad, and that's Klay Thompson. So I'm going to go with Klay Thompson here because I really think in a one-on-one situation, I want shooters more than I want dunkers.
All right, fair enough. My 5, Siakam, Paul George, Leonard, LeBron, and Durant. Who do you got?
Giannis, Embiid, Kyrie, Steph, and Klay.
No, none of us took Harden. All right, do you want to give out who did you have winning it all when you filled it out?
I have Giannis over Klay in the finals. I had Klay beating Kyrie. I had Kyrie beating LeBron, which is a little out of control. Their stats are pretty even. Kyrie obviously shoots the ball a little bit better. LeBron's got better overall. He's a better dunker. I just think, like I said, Kyrie in a simulated game without emotional effects or injury is I got him over Siakam and I got him over LeBron. So Kyrie now turns into my biggest MVP play in this entire thing because those are 2 of your players. That LeBron region is hot for this bet.
Yep. All right. Well, we start simulating it on Saturday. You can also win $5,000. Go check out Action App. There's a contest for free. You can enter. Evan, I think maybe we should close with this. So flip this around. So make sure you go check that out. Collin and I will have updates on our show throughout. So let me do the intro again, just a quick. All right, let's start with the NFL bad beats bracket. All right, the NFL region, I would say, is the second most brutal behind college football. There's a lot that I had in here. We'll start at the top. The 1 seed is Falcons-Pats. Now, this is one of my most painful bets ever. This is one of my 2 biggest bets of the last 10 years, and it lost. The other one was Ravens against the Patriots this past year, which won. I had the under and the Falcons in this game. Falcons plus 4.5. Of course, they blew a 28-3 lead. And then, of course, the Patriots won the forced overtime. They win the coin toss. They score a touchdown, which means they covered, and the game went over. This was so painful to me because it's a fucking Super Bowl. It's one of my biggest bets ever. Pats Bengals is a funny one. It's no contest for Falcons Pats. But Pats Bengals back in '93, they were both 1-14. And the Pats were laying 5.5. Shows you how bad the Bengals were. And Parcells, I forget who the coach was at the time for the Pats, decided to take a safety in the final seconds. They were up 7-0, laying 5.5, so they won 7-2 final. Funny one, but it's nowhere close to the degree of Falcons Pats. So I can safely say that Falcons Pats. I was at a Super Bowl party with friends and I. We were jumping in circles. We were doing like a dance and by the end we were just shocked, stunned. People left the party without saying anything. Like it was because we were just all so heavy on the Falcons. I'll never forget that night. It's going to be hard for someone to take that one down for me. And then I'll let you do the top pod after I just finish these last. So Eagles, Redskins, that one's brutal. I had the Redskins. I added a really small one. I got up to 7 late and covered the whole game. Your classic. They went out of bounds with 1 second. And that enabled – I think Chris Thompson went out of bounds with 1 second left. That enabled one more play. The Eagles pick it up, scoop it, and run it back for a touchdown. And then Mahomes' rush yards. I mean, again, it's a Super Bowl bet, so everything is amplified. I normally wouldn't include a prop in here, but it's a Super Bowl prop. You can get some decent money down. And everyone is betting props, and this one was in the bag. And then the Mahomes loses all those yardage on the 3 kneels. Then that's your last taste of football for the entire season. I actually had I had that Mahomes just because of the Super Bowl impact. Mahomes rush yards going through. Eagles Redskins was so brutal. But I have Falcons Pats going through, and then Falcons Pats going to the Sweet 16. It didn't matter who won that 8-9 matchup to me. What do you got in that top pod?
I don't know how the Mahomes rushing prop is a 9 seed, and I'll be honest with you, like the Falcons.
Well, just because it's a prop, that's the only reason. If it was not a prop and it was like a side, because not everyone is betting that as much as they're betting a side. I mean,
I know, and limits are low because I had a couple nickels down, but I had to do that. I had to cascade those nickels because that was the max bet you could get down on a prop. But here's the deal: the Super Bowl 51, that 28-3 blow by the Falcons, it's bad, and it's the most recognizable. It's something that anybody else would talk about. But from a gambling perspective, I was hitting Patriots plus 11, plus 12, plus 10. I was hitting that multiple times. There was a window for that Super Bowl for you to kind of get out of trouble if you had a pregame bet on Falcons plus 4. You had a beautiful window for a really long time to get out of that bet, create a nice little middle, or at least take a money line on the Patriots and ensure that you could,
I didn't want out of it at all, and then it was too late, and
I know.
Then you got to lose the coin toss, and then they got to go down and score a touchdown. It took so many things, and I had the under to boot on top of it.
The second you had a drive in the second half of that game where you realized that Shanahan just was not prepared to call the rest of this game, you could have gotten out of it. And I have to say, with the Mahomes rushing prop, you were just stuck with the number. I mean, there was no chance as a gambler, a seasoned gambler that likes to play live and wash your hands of a bet. You had no chance with that Mahomes one. I want to go Mahomes, the Mahomes rushing prop. I know it's a prop, and I know you can't bet as
Yeah,
much.
I mean, the other thing you have to keep in mind, though, is Mahomes' rushing prop, the number was all over the place. Like, some people had it at 40, some people had it at, like,
Right.
25, 30, 35. Like, so that was the other factor of why it was a 9 seed. But you can have it be upsetting the 1. All right, so you're
Yeah,
gonna have the 9 going through.
And I'll be the only one in the world that probably has it. But I mean, I just that was unbelievable.
All right, Bills, Pats. Moving on to the next region was brutal. I think it's under. I seeded them, but I wanted to put it higher. If you're not familiar with this, 1998, it's probably the only time in NFL history there's been a pass interference call on a Hail Mary. So the Patriots were laying 3.5. They were down 4 against the Bills, and they threw up a Hail Mary, and as time expired, it was incomplete, but they called pass interference. So they get 1 untimed down, and they scored. Ben Coates caught a touchdown pass. It was like their whole offense in the late 90s. He caught a touchdown pass. The Bills protested and walked off. Pete Carroll was the coach of the Pats at the time, and I don't know if he called it or Vinatieri just did it, but Vinatieri, instead of kicking the extra point, got the ball and ran it in for 2. There was no defense on the field. They were laying 3.5. So it sort of won by 3. They won by 4. That is vicious. Cardinals 49ers sucked. It's your typical lateral, and it got, like, kicked back. I have no idea how it happened, but some people pushed. Bills, Pats, I'm sorry, there's no 12-5 upset here. You also have another Pats game with the tuck rule. It's basically, but the thing is that the Raiders were catching 3, and they ended up losing by 3 in overtime. But without that tuck rule nonsense, they would have won the game. But Falcons 49ers over under. I mean, 2 touchdowns in the last 1 second. And Shanahan just shitting the bed again, not going on a fourth and down. I mean, just so many things that have happened to lose that over under. I don't see any upsets. I think this is a 4-5 huge clash, and I'm going with the 5. The Bills, Pats, the defense leaving, and not the Patriots. It's your rival. They don't take a knee or anything. They run it in. Like we saw the Minneapolis Miracle when the Vikings, they made him come back out, but it's not like they ran it in. Like right. This is brutal. I have the 5 going through, and I have the 5 beating Falcons Pats, even though Falcons Pats was personally so hurtful to me. And this Bills Pats is before my time of betting. Right before it was before I was in high school. But I watched video of it, talked to people that did bet it that are older than me. I have the 5 going through to the Elite 8. What do you got in the second pod here?
Listen, we've got stuff all over this bracket where crazy shit's happened on the field. It's happened last second, and it's actual. All of these plays, everything that you've got in this bracket is a matter of 22 players being on the field. This Bills Patriots loss to be up 23, to have plus 3.5 and
a PI on a Hail Mary too.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say that this by far, this Bills Patriots 1998 game with 11 players just walking off the field for the Patriots. This is by far the worst beat. It definitely beats the Mahomes rushing prop for me. So it doesn't even matter that we're not including fifth one. This 1998 Bills Patriots clip and the circumstances around this spread are far greater than anything else in this bracket. I mean, there's only 11 guys on the field. It's amazing.
I'm with you. All right. So now we're going to have some of them in the basketball when we get to the basketball one next week where there's like technicals and the crowd impacts.
Yeah.
So that's another factor. But in regards to the football ones, this is the only one where the one team wasn't on the field. And the other team decided, let's just go for 2 with no time left to cover by the hook. Cool.
Let me ask you, you put the seeds together. Was it just the seeds based on age? Is it based on
so there's recency bias in this. So when you're filling it out, like majority of people that were voting and that are going to vote, that's why I left off some of them ones from like 2001, 2002, unless they were especially egregious. But most people are going to be looking at this. I mean, including myself, I wasn't betting then. And a lot of people that are now betting have only started betting the last couple of years. And I've been betting like every day since football since 2002, back in high school. And this was even before me. So like, as far as the the amount of pain it caused to the population of people that are looking at this, it's very small. So there's a number of factors that I looked at to seed them. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you get seeded because you can. It's a subjective bracket. You can make it do damage as we have done here. They knocked off my one, and that's one of my biggest worst beats ever. Now you can look at this and say, and fill it out by like, all right, what caused me the most damage? And then if that was how I was looking at this, it's a factor of it. But if that was the only way, the only lens that I was using, then Falcons Pats would easily go through. Right. So it's a lot of art here, no science. Down the bottom half of the NFL region, you have the Music City Miracle. People forget that that lateral across the field and return, they covered to do when they scored there against the Bills. Steelers Chargers 2008. A lot of people said this should be a lot higher, but here's the thing. So this is a game where the Steelers were laying, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, I forget. They were playing the Chargers. They were up 11-10, and then Polamalu picked it off or got scooped up. I think he picked it off, and it was a pick six, but then there was let me pull it up. I'll tell you exactly. You can cut this off, Evan, and then start it when I pull it up. I just want to get the time and stuff right. Okay, so this is back in 2008. On the Steelers were laying 4, and Polamalu in the last play of the game, they're up. The Steelers are up 11-10. Polamalu picks it off and runs it back. It was in the final seconds of the last play for a touchdown. Called a touchdown. They reviewed it, and they overturned it and said it was an illegal forward pass by the Chargers, but it wasn't. And then after, the league said it was an incorrect reversal. And so it didn't matter. The final score was 11-10. Actually, it was the first 11-10 final in NFL history. And people who bet Pittsburgh didn't win. But here's why it's seeded where it is. Some people said this should be a 2 or 3 seed. Because if you had the Chargers and that happened, and it was a pick 6 on the final play of the game, that would have been brutal, right? So it still gets on here because it should have been a touchdown, and it was, and then it was incorrectly reversed. But, like, you needed a pick 6 in the final play to cover your 4. So if you could follow my logic there. So because of that, I had the Music City Miracle advancing. Then you have the Fail Mary. People forget that Fail Mary Packers-Seahawks game. That last Hail Mary with the replacement refs in the end zone, that decided the spread. And then you have Packers-Rams 2018. Now this is the Gurley game where Gurley went down. I believe this is earlier than 2018, which says on the bracket. But regardless, Gurley goes down, and he could have scored, and it impacted the total as well. But again, a broken run for a touchdown, it would have been unlucky for the other backers as well. But it really changed betting. I know Brian Westbrook did it way back in the day, but now a lot more people do it. Whenever we even have LSU Arkansas, where we had that game when they went down, then they tried to score. But again, if it did happen, it would have been kind of a bad beat for the other side. So because of that, I have the Fail Mary going by, and then the Music City Miracle. And then ultimately, I have the Fail Mary advancing just because there was replacement refs, and it was just so egregious that happened. And it was on Monday Night Football, I believe, or Sunday night. So I have the Fail Mary going to the Sweet 16. What do you got in this third pod here?
actually going to go with 14 seed Packers and Rams, and the reason is because I give credit to every time that this has happened. I want to give credit to Nick Rossett for falling down, getting up, and Coach O telling him score, trying to score like with a spread of 7.5, and you're up by 7. Gurley falling down not only had a ripple down effect on the spread and the total, but it had a huge effect in the DFS world with fantasy teams, with daily fantasy. I mean, there's ton of money switched hands on this, and it got so much attention. It's not the first time you and I have seen this happen before,
But it was the most.
but I
deserve.
I feel like we yeah, and I feel like we need some representation for when this stuff happens.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's why I wanted to include one of them on there. So that's fair. Do you have that going, the 14 to the Sweet 16?
Yeah, Sweet 16.
Okay. Now in the bottom half, we have the Chiefs Redskins. I was on the under and the Redskins in this. If you don't recall, the Redskins on the final play of the game, well, it was tied with 5 seconds to go, and they were catching 7. And the over-under was like 49, and the Chiefs kicked the field goal to go up 3. They kicked it off, and of course, the Redskins, they throw it out to the flat, and they start lateraling it, and then, Justin Houston somehow picks it up, doesn't get tackled, and scores in the final play. Monday Night Football, so much money changed hands. This is brutal. Just like Falcons Pats, I had the under and the dog here, where I thought there was no way I could go. I would go 1-1, yet alone 0-2. This was brutal. Steelers Jags. This is before my time of betting too. This is when the Steelers were down 2, lining up for a field goal with 1 second left, and the Jags blocked it and returned it for a touchdown. The only way the Jags could score. Steelers make the field goal, they win. They miss it, they lose. That was the only way. But still, Chiefs Redskins, recency, Monday Night Football, side and total. Just so vicious. I can personally say, look, Browns Bears 2001. This is another really tough one. Cardinals Seahawks is that game went to overtime. There was the missed field goals, ended 3-3, whatever. If you had Arizona, it sucked, especially when they couldn't get in from the goal line, and they kicked the field goal in overtime from like a 20-yarder in the NFL, and it hit the post. But the Browns Bears 2001 was the Browns were 5-point underdogs. I'm so happy the Browns made an appearance on here. The Browns were 5-point underdogs to the Bears. The Browns were up 14 with 30 seconds left. People, go looking back at this 2001 game. They're up 14, 30 seconds to go. The Bears scored a touchdown. The Bears then got an onside kick. The Bears scored another touchdown. And in overtime, you have the Browns, you're catching 5.5. Well, guess what? You at least get the ball first? No. So that's good? No. You throw a pick 6, and you lose by 6. That would be a legendary bad beat if it happened like recently. But there was no Twitter, and oh my God. So I have clearly Chiefs Redskins versus that Browns Bears. That Browns Bears is as bad as it gets, but we weren't around then. Chiefs Redskins was side and total. The Browns Bears actually might have been side and total too. I got to check that. But personal pain is going to be a factor. I have Chiefs Redskins moving on all the way to the Elite Eight to take on Bills Pats in 98 that we talked about before. What do you got here? Who you have to go into the Elite Eight, because you also have Bills Pats in the Elite Eight?
Yeah, and this one's tough for me because I had personal in the Chiefs. It was one of those moments where I was like, Twitter's black from Twitter. I'm walking away from social media because this one hurts so bad. Why do we bet? What is the tweet that I always see? We bet real money on this game. That seems to be the NFL tweet that comes out when these kinds of things happen. But this Browns Bears, this event, with that much time left and a pick 6 to end, this is in the college football bracket equivalent of a run back I think, to me, the 2 seed is what's going to move on all the way through to make it Elite Eight. Because I know it's from 2001. Give it some attention, everybody, because the fact that the Browns had such a huge lead 32 seconds left. 21-7 with 32 seconds left, and you don't cover. I mean, to me, that's just legendary. So I think I mentioned this yesterday. Anytime you have a 99% win probability in the Action Network app, and just what we call like the cliff of doom, where you just see it flatline down to zero, you chance to win your money. I think that's happening in this bracket, and that's why I'm going to take the Browns and Bears all the way to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you, but the reason that I'm not too hung up on it is, and by the way, Tim Couch is the one that the Browns got the ball in overtime, and Couch I believe on the first play in overtime, let's see. No, I'm sorry. The Bears got the ball in overtime. The Browns force a 3-and-out. The Browns then get the ball thrown 12. Tim Couch completes a pass for 16 yards, and you're like, let's go. Tim Couch. Yeah. All I needed, this could end in a tie, a field goal, anything. Then Couch gets sacked, and then the next play, he throws a pick six.
True story. Tim Couch came to Little Rock, Arkansas, and threw 5 touchdowns for Kentucky one time. So I'm going to take Tim Couch the Elite Eight here.
There you go. And now the quarterback for the Browns that day was Shane Matthews. And the final was 27-21. So I'm assuming, totals were low back then.
Yeah.
Well, for the Bears to tie it, that would have pushed the game over. I know that.
Right.
They were down 21-7 with 30 seconds to go. But I still think, look, it's my bracket, but I have the 5 seed going to the Final Four here, and that's Bills Patriots. Just everything surrounding it. Touchdown with no time left after a pass interference on a Hail Mary in the NFL, and then the other team leaves, and then you just go for 2. No one does that in the NFL. You can see that happening in college, but no knee. It's Bills Pats in the Final Four with the Belk Bowl in the Final Four, and luckily the footballs are on different sides of the bracket. So these two, the Belk Bowl and this one, could meet in the championship. But that's why I've gone to the Final Four. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I was trying to think of an example in college football where, there was only 11 guys on the field and it affected the spread. Immediately what came to mind was Cal Stanford and the band coming on the field. So what scenario, let's put it this way, to win these brackets in football, what scenario would you be holding a ticket in Vegas and something crazy like this happens and you would actually go up to the window and argue that you deserved a refund? So like the band walking out field for Cal Stanford, if that had an effect on the point spread, I might argue that. But this whole only 11 guys on the field and one team completely disappears, I literally would have walked a betting ticket to the window, asked for the manager, and said, this needs to be refunded. This is horseshit. So, 5 Bills Patriots all the way, just 11 guys on the field, and ran it in. Didn't kick a field goal. You could have sent out the PAD.
Or you could have taken a knee. Anything.
This was so far before going for 2 was popular.
The game was over.
Nobody
you're up. You're up
like
3.
The game was over.
Yeah, the game's over. Brutal. We agree.
I would have gone to the window. I'd have been saying, I want a refund, and I would never do that, but I would do it in this case.
All right, so we're in agreement. So on our first 2 Final Four spots, we'll go over the basketball region and the other sports region next week. We also have some WrestleMania to talk about. We have the college football all-time bracket to talk about. So we still have a lot of stuff to talk about. Hang in there out there. I'm going to play Collin this weekend, and that will be the show, depending on how it goes. Then I'm going to give out my username to play another sport. I played like some Grand Theft Auto today. So it's but I've been playing a lot of baseball. I played a little bit of Madden, so we'll see. So Collin, I'll talk to you offline. We'll set up a game for this weekend. But hang in there, guys, and we'll catch y'all later. Cheers.
Peace out.